Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest and hopefully greatest episode of Actual Factual TV. Lately, we've been doing this series of stories, and I am really excited for this one today. This one has a crazy plot twist at the end. That's the only hint I'm going to give you, but I want to make sure that you're paying attention to see if you can pick up on what actually happened in this story before I tell you. So let me know what you guys think afterwards, and let's get into it. In Southern California in 1922, police officers were notified that they had heard gunshots from a neighboring home, and so they responded, and some officers went out there to see what was going on. When police arrived to the scene, they were greeted by a gruesome scene of Dolly Ostrich hiding in her closet while her husband, Fred Ostrich, lay dead on their bedroom floor. They would soon learn, after looking around and interviewing Dolly, that earlier that evening they had been robbed and her husband had been shot. After a pretty normal day of work and other various activities, the couple were settling down for the evening, Fred with his favorite whiskey and Dolly with her sewing machine. They had been married for 25 years and they were in a pretty set routine. Now, while they were enjoying their evening, a burglar would sneak in through the back door, gun in hand, and he would raise it to the couple and tell them that he needed valuables. They were being robbed, which led to them going up to the bedroom because that's where the valuables were, and the burglar followed them up to their bedroom. Now, after finally having enough, Fred would begin to fight back against the home invader, and he made a go at the man's gun. They wrestled for the gun over a few seconds, and it would end with Fred being shot and falling to the floor, and the robber would then quickly make his way out of the house. And Dolly, in a complete panic, would run and hide in the closet. Now, police would investigate as best they could, but in 1922 they didn't have what we have today, so after a little while, the case kind of eventually just went cold. It would be nearly a decade after Fred's murder that police would receive an anonymous tip from a man saying that he had recently started seeing Dolly, Fred's widow, and that she had actually asked him to ditch a gun that she had in some nearby tar pits. And thinking that this was really strange, he went to the police. But that wasn't the only weird thing, because shortly after this, a neighbor of Dolly's would actually go to the police and say that she also asked them to help get rid of a gun, but she asked them to help bury it. Now police are starting to get suspicious, and they're thinking, okay, we've really got to go talk to her and see why she wants to get rid of this gun so badly. It would be shortly after this that police would learn that pretty much everything they knew about Fred's widow, Dolly, was a total lie. Police would learn that about 10 years earlier, a few months before her husband's murder, that Dolly was more of a lonely housewife than a happily married woman. And instead of the couple doing all sorts of fun things together, it would actually turn out that Fred worked extremely long hours, and whenever he would get home, instead of hanging out or putting his hands on his wife, he would rather just grab a hold of a bottle of whiskey and kind of drink the day away. Now, one day while Fred was working, there was a 17-year-old kid named Otto Sandhuber that Fred was kind of okay with. He was a young kid, and, he looked up to him for whatever reason, so they had a decent relationship. Now, Fred had asked Otto to actually go over to his house to help his wife fix her sewing machine. Now, upon this kid going over to help fix the sewing machine, Dolly and Otto would begin having an affair behind Fred's back, and things heated up, and before too long, they were looking for ways to spend as much time together as they could. Now, Dolly went ahead and decided to actually move Otto into their attic, completely oblivious to her husband. So, again, Fred worked really long hours, so this Otto kid would only really have to hide at night. And once they knew it was about time for Fred to come home, Otto would scurry up to his tiny lair, and he would hide out writing fiction novels all night, and just being quiet until the next day when he could come out again. Now, during the day while Fred was gone, Otto and Dolly would just hang all around the house. They would even make homemade gin, and they would basically do whatever they wanted all day long while Fred was gone. So one night, while Otto was doing his thing, hiding out in the attic, he begins to hear an argument building between Fred and Dolly. And after hearing this argument build up for just a little bit while he was listening, Otto made the decision, and all of a sudden he bursted out of the attic he was hiding in with a gun in his hand and immediately confronted Fred, and Fred immediately reciprocated the same way. He was not happy to see this and didn't know what in the world was going on. Why was this man jumping out of his attic with a pistol? And very quickly things escalated when Fred lunged at Otto and tried to take the gun. They tussled for a second, and this is how Fred would ultimately get shot. Now at this point, Dolly completely panicked, but Otto remained totally calm, and without skipping a beat, he set up this whole situation with Dolly in the closet, and he made it look like a makeshift robbery, and then he simply retreated into his attic and continued hiding, and he simply waited. The police would come, they would check everything out, and obviously they didn't check the attic because why would they? And so they essentially had gotten away with murder at the time. Now, a little while later, Dolly got remarried, and then she had another boyfriend on the side, but this entire time, she is still hiding Otto in the attic, and in fact, she would wind up keeping him there for the entire decade until this new information came to light. Now, when the police finally learned what actually happened that day, back in the day, the statute of limitations had already run out, so Dolly and Otto got off with this scot-free before finally going their separate ways. If you guys like today's story, please like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, do something to let me know that I'm doing something right here. I would really appreciate it. We're going to do maybe 3 or 4 of these type of videos a week, and we do tons of random fact shorts, so you can get all kinds of content here. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a good one.